Shabbat Shalom, everybody. Chag Sameach. I would like to welcome back cantorial soloist Sharon Brown Goldstein, who feels like she's been part of our congregation for a long time already, but yet we still await the day for all of you to meet her in person. And may that day come soon. But in the meanwhile, here we are, and we're going to begin our Shabbat and Sukkot service together. We'll begin, first of all, with the lighting of Shabbat and holiday candles. Oops.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu Lehadlik ner shal Shabbat v'shel Yom Tov.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam shehechianu v'kimanu v'higyanu lasman haseh.
Amen. Let us begin with our Kabbalat Shabbat service, welcoming of Shabbat. And we begin every week with Hinei Ma Tov, which seems, for me anyway, to have a greater value than it ever had before, because when we sat physically, literally, side by side, all of us together, that was wonderful. But now we are still side by side in our memories and imaginations, and knowing that even though walls divide us, we are still a congregation together, Shevet Achim Gam Yachad, sitting together, worshiping together, even though not quite as it used to be. So, Hinei Ma Tov.
Hinei ma tovu manayim Shevet achim gam yachad. Hinei ma tovu manayim Shevet achim gam yachad. Hinei ma tov Shevet achim gam yachad. Hinei ma tov Shevet achim gam yachad. Hinei ma tovu manayim Shevet achim gam yachad. Hinei ma tovu manayim Shevet achim gam yachad.
For those of you with a book, with a Siddur, we are on page 4 for Lechu Neranena.
Lechu neranena, lechu neranena, lechu neranena l'Adonai. Lechu neranena, lechu neranena, lechu neranena l'Adonai. toda. Naria, Naria, Litsui, Shenu, Bismira, Naria, Lo, Lepuneranina, 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 Ladonai, Lepuneranina, 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 Ladonai, Lepuneranina, 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 Ladonai, Lepuneranina, 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 Ladonai.
As the words we just sang tell us, come, let us sing to Adonai. This week, instead of reading the usual psalms that I choose an English reading from, I'm going to read a new psalm, a psalm composed by Richard Smallwood. Richard Smallwood is a gospel singer and songwriter who's been around for a long time, and many of you may have heard of him, although he's new to my acquaintance. And he wrote a psalm called Total Praise. And after the completion of the service, we'll be able to watch a video of many, many cantors and black music ministers singing together. And I'm going to read the words of this song/psalm as our reading for today. And it is beautiful in that it incorporates many lines from well-known psalms, as well as incorporating them, as well as bringing in new concepts and rearranging it. Lord, I will lift mine eyes to the hills, knowing my health is coming from you. Your peace you give me in times of the storm. You are the source of my strength. Hallelujah. And you are the strength of my life. Yes, you are. I lift my hands in total praise to you. Lord, I will lift mine eyes to the hills, knowing my health is coming from you. Your peace you give me in times of the storm. You are the source of my strength. You are the strength of my life. I lift my hands in total praise to you. And that repeats several times in the music, but that's the psalm itself. A simple, very beautiful recognition of God's role in our lives and the strength we draw from our faith. So now we will turn to an old psalm, Psalm 29, found on page 9, Mizmor LeDavid. Please join in singing it in Hebrew.
Mizmor LeDavid, Havu l'Adonai b'nelim, Havu l'Adonai kavod vos, Havu l'Adonai kivod shemo, Ishtachavu l'Adonai b'chadrat kodesh. Kol Adonai al hamayim, El hakavod hirim, Adonai hamayim rabim. Kol Adonai bakach, Kol Adonai bihadar, Kol Adonai shover harazim, Vaishaber Adonai et arzei halvanon. Vayarkidem kemo hegal, Levanon v'Sion, kemo vein re'emim. Kol Adonai chotzev lahavotesh, Kol Adonai yachil midbar, Yachil Adonai midbar kadesh, Kol Adonai yechol ad ayalot. Vayechesof yarot uvehichalot, kulo merva kavod. Adonai lamabu עכשיו, וישב אדוני מלך לעולם. אדוני עוז לעמו ייתן, אדוני יברך את עמו ושלום.
Let's turn to Lecha Dodi on page 11, and we're going to sing verses 1, 2, 5, 8, and 9.
Lecha Dodi likrat kala, Pnei Shabbat nikabela. 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 Shamor v'zachor b'dibur echad, Hishmianu el hamyuchad, Adonai echad u'shemo echad, L'shem el tiferet v'lichila. Lecha Dodi, Lecha Dodi likrat kala, Pnei Shabbat nikabela. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, Pnei Shabbat nikabela. Likrat Shabbat lehud v'nelcha, Ki mekor habracha, Mehirosh mikedem nisucha, Sof ma'aseh b'machshava tchila. Lecha Dodi, Lecha Dodi likrat kala, Pnei Shabbat nikabela. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, Pnei Shabbat nikabela. Toriri, toriri, ki varech kumi ori, uri, uri, shir daberi, ki fod Adonai alayit nikla. Lecha Dodi, Lecha Dodi likrat kala, Pnei Shabbat nikabela. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, Pnei Shabbat nikabela. Yaminu smol tifrotzi, Yaminu smol tifrotzi, Ve'et Adonai taritzi, Al yad ish ben partzi, V'nish mechad v'nagila. Lecha Dodi, Lecha Dodi likrat kala, Pnei Shabbat nikabela. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, Pnei Shabbat nikabela. Boi v'shalom materet bala, Gam b'simcha uv'tzola, Toch emunah am segula. Boi chala, boi chala. Lecha Dodi, Lecha Dodi likrat kala, Pnei Shabbat nikabela. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, Pnei Shabbat nikabela.
On page 13, we come to the song for the Sabbath day, Psalm 2, and I will read the interpretive translation. It is good to give thanks to the Eternal and to sing praise to the great name, to tell about your love in the morning and your faithfulness every night, with the 10-stringed harp and the lute, in song and meditation. For I delight in your world, source of joy, in your deeds, in the works of your hands. How great are your designs, Creator! They are beyond our comprehension. The foolish do not perceive this, the shallow cannot understand. Though the wicked flourish like the weeds, though they spring up like grass, they will be cut down. For you shine on high forever. Behold, your enemies shall perish, the evil ones will fall apart. You lift me, you increase my strength like the wild ram. I am fragrant with oil. I have seen the defeat of my enemies and heard the doom of my attacker. The righteous flourish like palm trees. They grow tall like cedars in Lebanon. Planted in the dark soil of the Holy One, they blossom in the courtyard of our God. Even in old age they bear fruit. They are green and full of vigor, proclaiming that the source of life is just, our rock, whose way is perfect. And on the left side of page 14, let's sing Tzadik Katamar.
Tzadik Katamar yifrach keres bavanon yizke shetulim bivit Adonai b'chatzrat Eloheinu yafrichu od yenufun b'seva t'shenim v'rananim yiyu lehagid ki ashar Adonai Zuri v'la avlatabo.
We turn to page 15 for the Chatzi Kaddish.
Yitkatav v'yitkatash meraba Be'almat yivrach hirutei v'yamlich malchutei B'chayechon uv'yomechon uv'chayetucho beit Yisrael Bakala uv'izman karif v'meru Amen. Yehi shmei rabba mevorach le'olamu me'omaya yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shemei dekudesha berichu le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechemata damiran be'alma v'imeru Amen.
This Shabbat is Shabbat Sukkot, as you well know by now. As the sun sets today, we begin the festival of Sukkot. We transition from the solemnity and sobriety of Yom Kippur to the celebratory joyfulness of Sukkot. The Torah instructs regarding Sukkot, "V'samachta b'chagecha v'hayita ach sameach." You must rejoice on the festival and be nothing but joyful. From the cerebral to the embodied, on Yom Kippur, we look inwards. During Sukkot, we bring our bodies inside the sukkah and we look out all around us. The sights, smells, and symbols of the harvest and the outdoors. In normal years, Sukkot is a festival of hospitality and generosity. The sukkah can also heighten our gratitude. How so? Surely inside our own homes, we have more to feel grateful for and a greater sense of safety from the elements. Perhaps you know the story of the Chassid, who lived in a cramped house with 7 children, his wife, and his mother-in-law. He complained to the Rebbe that life at home was very difficult. The Rebbe told him to bring his goat into the house, and the sheep as well, for a week, and then come back. Now, when you seek counsel from a Rebbe, you have to do what he tells you. The Chassid, bewildered by these instructions, did what he was told, and life was almost unbearable. After a week, he returned to the Rebbe, who told him to remove the animals and report back 3 days later. When the Chassid returned, he reported that his home felt wonderfully spacious. Sometimes it takes living with a goat and a sheep or dwelling in a sukkah for a week as the weather becomes cooler, windy, and rainy to really appreciate the comforts of our home. Sometimes it takes moving closer to nature, like a camping trip, to savor the natural world and really notice the seasons, to gaze through the sparse branches of the roof at the stars. And sometimes it takes dwelling in the sukkah in the autumn chill to think about those who dwell permanently in Sukkot because they have lost their home to fire, flood, poverty, or mental illness. Sitting in the sukkah can help us feel humble, amazed, and grateful for our many blessings. It can make us feel joyful. Our prayers frequently include the phrase Sukkat Shalom. For example, the Hashkivenu prayer, which we recite every Friday night, lay us down in peace, concludes with the phrase Ufros Aleinu Sukkat Shlomecha, and spread over us your sukkah of peace. In the Hasidic tradition, that verse reads, Ufros Aleinu Sukkat Rachamim V'chayim V'shalom, a sukkah of mercy and life and peace. In Psalm 23, which we read, it's known as the penitential psalm, and it's read from a month before Rosh Hashanah, through the month of Elul, through Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur, through Sukkot. Why until Sukkot? Because one of the verses is, Ki yitzpaneni besukko beyom ra'ah, for he will hide me in his sukkah on a day of misfortune. The theme of the psalm is that God provides protection under all circumstances, and there is nothing to fear, not even when facing emotional losses and physical dangers. It emphasizes that an awareness of God's presence provides protection in all situations. When one contemplates hiding in a sukkah in a literal sense, it doesn't sound like the safest place to hide. A fragile, temporary dwelling with a roof that is meant to allow the rain in, this cannot be what the psalmist intended. Instead, consider the concept of the sukkah as a metaphor for a sense of inner safety, well-being, and resilience, even in the face of danger and distress. The Sukkat Shalom is not a literal safe haven, but rather a metaphor for God's presence, a core feeling of well-being and inner strength that we draw upon when we have to get through tough times. This Sukkot, we use our imaginations more, as an abundance of caution prevents us from eating in our Newbridge Sukkah. With gloved hands, we will still bless and wave the lulav and the etrog. May the symbol of the lulav, pointing to the awesome universe all around us, and the fragrance of the etrog, remind us of Sukkot in times past and in times yet to come. May we all experience the Sukkot Shalom, the well-being and peace of feeling safe soon. Shabbat Shalom and Chag Sameach. We're going to continue now with the Ma'ariv service, the evening service, and it can be found on page 16, although I know that you don't really need the book for this. So it's a time to rise in spirit or in body, and I will face the ark as I would do in regular times.
Baruch hu et Adonai HaMevorach.
Baruch Adonai HaMevorach Le'olam Vaed.
Baruch Adonai HaMevorach Le'olam Vaed.
And now on page 16, let us read, You Bring on Evenings. Blessed are you, Adonai our God, ruler of the universe. Your word brings on evenings. With wisdom, you open heaven's gates. With understanding, you change fixed times and alternate the seasons and arrange the stars in their places in the sky according to your will. Creator of day and night, rolling light before darkness and darkness before light. You cause day to pass and bring on night, and distinguish between day and night. God of all forces is your name. God, living and enduring, always rule over us forever and ever. Blessed are you, Adonai, who brings on evenings. On page 17, Ahavat Olam.
Ahavat Olam, Beit Yisrael, Amcha Avta, Torah u'mitzvot, chukim u'mishpatim, otanu limadeta. Hakein Adonai Eloheinu, B'shachbeinu v'kumenu, Nasiach b'chukecha, V'nizmach b'divrei Toratecha, U'v'mitzvotecha, Le'olam vaed. Ki heim chayenu ve'orech yameinu, uvahem negeh yomam v'layla. Ve'ahavatcha al tasir mimenu le'olamim. Baruch atah Adonai, Ohev Amo Yisrael. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad.
Page 18, Ve'ahavta.
Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha, V'chol levavcha u'v'chol nafshecha, u'v'chol me'otecha, והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך, ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם לאות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך.
And now an interpretive translation of the second paragraph of the Shema by Andre Unger. If you faithfully obey my laws today and love me, I shall give you your livelihood in good time and in full measure. You shall work and reap the results of labor, satisfied with what you have achieved. Be careful, however. Let not your heart be seduced, lured after false gods, seeking alien ideals, lest God's image depart from you, and you sink, becoming desolate, and lose your joyous, God-given heritage. And we conclude with the third paragraph of the Shema, the last part. It's on page 20, line 4, Leman Tizkeru.
Leman Tizkeru, ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם. אדוני אלוהיכם.
We turn to page 21, 2 paragraphs from the bottom for Mi Chamocha.
מי כמוך פעילים אדוני, מי כמוך נטר בקודש. נורא תהילות אוסף אלה, נורא תהילות אוסף אלה. מלכותך ראו פניך, בוקי הים לפני משה ומרים, זה לי ענו ואמרו, אדוני ימלוך, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד. ונאמר כי פדה אדוני את יעקב, וגאלו מיד חזק ממנו. ברוך אתה אדוני גא ישראל.
On page 22, we come now to the Hashkivenu prayer, lay us down in peace. This is the prayer that I had mentioned earlier. I'm going to read it, we're going to read it together or recite it together in English. Lay us down, Adonai our God, in peace, and awaken us, our ruler, to life, and spread over us your sukkah of peace, and help us with your good counsel, and save us for the sake of your name. Shield us and remove from us enemy, disease, and sword, and hunger, and sorrow. And remove the evil forces from before us and from behind us, and in the shadow of your wing, shelter us. For God, you watch over us and rescue us. For God, you are a gracious and merciful ruler. Watch over our going and coming, for life and for peace, from now until forever. And spread over us your sukkah of peace. Blessed are you, Adonai, the one who spreads a sukkah of peace over us and over all your people Israel and over Jerusalem. And now, Cantor Sharon will sing from to the ending part of the prayer that we just read in English because of its emphasis on the Sukkat Shalom.
Aleinu Sukkat Shilomecha Ufiros Aleinu Sukkat Shilomecha Yalai lai lai Yalai lai lai Yalai lai 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 Yalai lai lai Yalai lai lai Yalai lai 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 Ufiros Aleinu Sukkat Shilomecha Ufiros Aleinu Sukkat Shilomecha.
On page
Baruch atah Adonai, haporei Sukkat Shalom Aleinu, ve'al kol amo Yisrael, ve'al Yerushalayim.
Amen. And now, on page 23, please rise in spirit or in body for Vishamru.
Veshamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. ביני ובין בני ישראל אותי לעולם, אותי לעולם, אותי לעולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני, עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. וביום השביעי שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם.
We come to the Amidah, which is on page 25, and it's going to be a little bit different, but the beginning part will be the same. We're going to sing together the first 3 blessings of the Amidah, and then we'll take a few moments for silent prayer, and then I will read sections of the prayer that we say for Sukkot, because after all, it's not just Shabbat, it's also Sukkot. So I'm going to add that in, I'll read it out loud, and then we'll conclude together. So let's begin on page 25.
Adonai sifatai tiftahu fi tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu v'Elohei avotenu v'imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, v'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, v'Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor v'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, V'konei Hakol, V'zocher Chastei Avot V'imahot, U'mevii Geula Livnei V'neihem, Lima'an Shemo Be'ahava, Melech Hozer U'Moshiach U'Magen, Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Avraham, ve'ezrat ufoked Sarah. Atah gibor le'olam Adonai, mechayei kol chai atah raf lehoshia. Mashiv haruach u'morid hagashem, morid hatal. Mechalkel chaim bechesed, mechayei kol chai berachamim rabim, somech noflim verofech olim, umatir asurim, umekayem emunato lishenei afar, michamocha bal kivurot, Umita melech, melech mimit umechaye, umatzmiach Yeshua, v'ne'eman ata lahachayot kol chai, Baruch atah Adonai, mechaye kol chai. Atah kadosh v'shimcha kadosh, U'kadoshim b'chol yom yahalelucha selah. Baruch atah Adonai ha'el ha'kadosh.
I'm going to continue now with the English readings that we read on Sukkot and other holidays. You chose us for your service, you loved us and favored us, you exalted us above all tongues and sanctified us with your commandments. You, our ruler, have brought us near to your service and your great and holy name you have called upon us. And then we add in addition, you, Adonai, our God, have given us with love Shabbatot for rest and appointed times, holidays for happiness, holidays and times of joy, this day of Shabbat and this day of Sukkot, the festival of booths, the time of our rejoicing. With love, a holy convocation, a reminder of the Exodus from Egypt. And continuing, ascend, come, our God and God of our ancestors, let Let us arrive, appear to be accepted, be heard, be recollected, and be remembered. Our remembrance and the remembrance of our ancestors, the remembrance of Jerusalem, your holy city, and the remembrance of all your people, the house of Israel, before you, for survival, for goodness, for grace, for kindness, and for mercy, for life and for peace on this day of the festival of Sukkot. Remember us, Adonai our God, this day for good. Recall us this day for blessing. Save us this day for life. With an act of salvation and mercy, spare us, be gracious to us, have pity on us, and save us, for our eyes are upon you, for you are a gracious and merciful ruler. And may you find pleasing the worship of your people Israel. Blessed are you, Adonai, who returns his presence to Zion. And now we'll conclude, as we always do, with Oseh Shalom.
Oseh Shalom bimromav, Uyaseh Shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. V'imru amen. Oseh Shalom bimromav, Uyaseh Shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. V'imru amen. Yaseh Shalom, Yaseh Shalom, Shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Yaseh Shalom, Yaseh Shalom, Shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Yaseh Shalom, Yaseh Shalom, Shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Yaseh Shalom, Yaseh Shalom, Shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Yaseh Shalom, Yaseh Shalom, Shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael.
We turn to page 130 for the Mishaberach prayer, the prayer for healing. And as has become our custom over these last 6 months and more, we offer a prayer for the health and healing of our healers. And it's written by Rabbi Ayelet Cohen. May the one who blessed our ancestors bless all those who put themselves at risk to care for the sick, physicians and nurses and orderlies, technicians and home health aides, EMTs and pharmacists, who navigate the unfolding dangers of the world each day to tend to those they have sworn to help. Bless them in their coming home and bless them in their going out. Ease their fear, sustain them. Source of breath, healer of all beings, protect them and restore their hope. Strengthen them that they may bring strength. Keep them in health that they may bring healing. Bless the sacred work of their hands, and may this plague pass from among us speedily and in our days. And now the Mishaberach, I will recite the traditional Hebrew words and pause so that we can add the names of those who are in need of healing. Feel free to say them out loud if you wish, or hold them in your heart as we think of those, even perhaps ourselves, who need healing. Mishaberach Abotenu Avraham Yitzchak veYaakov ve'imotenu Sarah Rivka Rachel veLeah hu Yevarech veYirapeh et hacholim. Chaya bat Nechama. Baruch ben Adonai v'sarchan. הקדוש ברוך הוא ימלא רחמים עליהם, להחלימם ולרפאותם, להחזיקם ולהחיותם, וישלח להם מהרה רפואה שלמה מן השמיים, רפואת הנפש ורפואת הגוף, השתה בעגלא ובזמן קריב, ונאמר אמן.
ישברך אבותינו מקור הברכה לאמותינו. May the source of strength who blessed the ones before us help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say Amen. Misheberach imotenu מקור הברכה לאמותינו. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say Amen.
Let us turn back to page 41 for Aleinu, a time to rise in spirit or in body, and I'll open the ark.
עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגור עלינו כחמנם, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים, הקדוש ברוך הוא, שהוא נוטה שמיים ויוסד הארץ, ומושב יקרו בשמיים ממעל, ושכינתו זו בגופי מרומים. הוא אלוהינו אין עוד, אמת מלכנו אפס זולתו, ככתוב בתורתו, וידעת היום והשבת אל לבבך, כי אדוני הוא האלוהים בשמיים ממעל, והארץ מארץ מתחת אין עוד.
We conclude the Aleinu with
ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ, ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו, ושמו, ושמו echad.
On page 44, we come to the Mourner's Kaddish. Tonight is the Yortzeit of Carol Halfon's father, Sid Eisen. May his memory be a blessing. And now those who are in mourning or saying Kaddish, please join in, as well as anyone else who wishes to honor the memory of loved ones who are no longer with us. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah, be'alma dibra chirute, be'yamlich malchute, b'chayechon u'b'yomechon, u'b'chaye dechol Beit Yisrael, ba'agala u'b'zman kariv v'imru, Amen. יהא שמי רבה מבורך לעולם ולעולמיה. יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל שמי דקודשה בריחו. לעילה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה, תושבחתה ונחמתה, ואמירן בעלמה ואמרו אמן. יהא שלמה רבה מן שמיה, וחיים עלינו ועל כל ישראל, ואמרו אמן. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ועל כל יושבי תבל, ואמרו אמן. Announcements. Tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock will be a Shabbat and Sukkot service led by Rabbi Karen Landy. And then throughout the week, there will be a couple of Sukkot programs which have been advertised and will continue to be advertised. The ones in independent living, I know, are by registration only, so that they won't exceed 15 people sitting outside the sukkah. It should be a nice opportunity, and if you get rained out, there's a rain date. So please sign up for remaining dates if there is still room. I think there's still a bit of room at this point, but I'm not sure anymore. I look forward to seeing you also on Wednesday for Torah study. I am hoping that if the weather is dry and the connection goes well, that I may sit in the sukkah for our Torah study group. But again, of course, we realize these things are not in our hands. And on Friday night, there'll be a Friday night service to celebrate Shabbat, as well as Shmini Atzeret next Friday night. And on the day of Shmini Atzeret, next Saturday, is a service with Rabbi Karen and I, which will include Yizkor, as is traditional on the last part of the Sukkot holiday. It's actually the day after Sukkot. And then on Sunday, the 11th, there will be a festive Simchat Torah service as well. So there's lots of celebrating to do, and I hope to see you either in person or virtually. And Shabbat Shalom and Chag Sameach. I want to also thank very much our cantorial soloist Sharon Brown Goldstein. It's always a joy to lead with you. We're not done yet, of course. We still have to conclude with Adon Olam, and that will be followed by Kiddush and Hamotzi. And also, at that point, after Hamotzi, we will say our goodbyes, and then if you wish to linger longer, there will be what I think is a beautiful video recording of many cantors and black music ministers singing the Total Praise song that I read earlier in the service. I found it very inspiring. Since we do not endorse any fundraising, I want you to know that I am showing it despite the fact that it is a fundraiser. But during COVID times, many beautiful pieces of music, many beautiful performances have been done in that way. I am not endorsing anything, and I'm not asking you to donate anything. I just want you to enjoy the music. So let us conclude on page 45 with Adon Olam, and then we'll make our regular weekly Shabbat blessings on wine and bread.
Adon olam asher malach b'terem kol yitzir nivra le'it lasa b'chefza kol azai melech shemo nikra azai melech shemo nikra ve'acharei kiklot hakol levado Yimloch nora, v'hu haya, v'hu hoveh, v'hu yeh b'tifara, v'hu yeh b'tifara, v'hu echad v'ein sheni lehamshilo, lehachbira, v'li reshit, v'li tachlit, V'lo ha'oz v'ha'misra, v'lo ha'oz v'ha'misra, v'hu eli v'chai gali, v'tzur chevli v'hitzara, v'hu nisi umanos li, menat kosi b'yom ekra, menat kosi b'yom ekra, b'yado kid ruchi, ve'iti shan ve'ayira, ve'im ruchi giviati, Adonai li v'lo ira, Adonai li v'lo ira.
Shabbat Shalom, everyone, and Good Yantif.
Good Yantif.
And now we will have Kiddush.
Vayer vayvoker yom hashishi, vaychulu hashamayim ve'haaretz, ve'chol tzivam. Vayichal Elohim et yom hashvi, mikol melachto asher asa. Vayishbot bayom hashvi, mikol melachto asher asa. Vayivarech Elohim et yom hashvi, vaykadesh oto, ki vo Shabbat mikol melachto asher bara Elohim la'asot. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, borei pri hagafen.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bachar banu mikol am, v'romemanu mikol lashon, v'kideshanu b'mitzvotav. V'titen lanu Adonai Eloheinu be'ahava, Shabbatot limnucha, u'moadim l'simcha, chagim u'zmanim l'sason, et yom chag hasukot hazeh, zman simchatenu mikra kodesh, zecher litziat Mitzrayim. Kivanu v'acharta, ve'otanu kidashta mikol ha'amim. V'shabbat u'moedei kodshecha be'ahava v'ratzon b'simcha uv'sason hinchaltanu. Baruch atah Adonai, mekadesh hashabbat v'Yisrael v'hazmanim.
Amen.
L'chaim.
L'chaim. And that was a beautiful, long, special Kiddush for Shabbat and for Sukkot. And now, time for our Hamotzi. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Amen. Shabbat Shalom. Good Yantif, everyone. Thank you again, Sharon. And we're going to say our goodbyes to you now, and then you will go right into the musical performance should you decide to continue. Bye-bye.
We're living in a time where it seems as if there are so many people who are focusing on our differences. And while we do have differences, we realize that it's also equally important, if not more important, to focus on things that unite us. And this is an opportunity to put that into action.
So on behalf of the Cantors Assembly, I'm delighted to offer this world premiere of this incredible chorus of cantors and Black music ministers singing Richard Smallwood's Total Praise. Enjoy. So Pastor Manning, we've spoken before about the historical bonds between the Jewish community and the Black community. Perhaps we could talk a little bit more about that history from your perspective.
Yes, Rabbi. So, we have to remember from a historical perspective the times that the African American community and the Jewish communities were coming together. If you go back to the early 1900s, with the formation of the NAACP, it wasn't just, of course, people of color coming together, but it was also in conjunction with a lot of our Jewish brothers and sisters. I think if we can tap back into that same spirit of unity, that same spirit of working together, I believe we could accomplish a lot more in this day and age.
Indeed, I find it troubling that when one looks at national statistics, there are two groups that seemingly every year lead in categories when it comes to attacks upon their persons. When it comes to a faith group, well over 50% of the attacks that occur upon Jews. When it comes to any other group, the largest group that regularly finds physical attacks are the Black Americans. So indeed, this is a perfect time to continue to grow that partnership, because there's so much we can do together to become anti-racists.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. And I think it goes back to what we've talked about before, that if we can focus on what unites us versus what divides us, I think we can have a lot more positive effects within the community.